Hey everyone, welcome back to Charlie Tech. In today's tutorial, we are going to learn about one of the most important topics in PHP. We are going to learn about PDO. Now, the PDO is the modern, secure way to connect your PHP code to a database like MySQL. We are going to use MySQL to handle the database, and then it is used whether you are building a login system or maybe a registration form or a full website which contains forms. PDO is something every developer must know. So with that, you just have to connect your form to the database. So in this video, we are going to build a simple sign-up system with using PDO. I'll walk you through every file and then explain every line of code so you understand exactly what's happening. All right, so let me explain certain concepts. So like PDO simply means PHP data object. It's a database layer in PHP that allows us to work with MySQL safely. So these are the main reasons why developers prefer PDO. It is very secure. It is secure, meaning it protects you from SQL injection using prepared statements. We have some hackers that use SQL injection to hack your data from your website. But when you use the PDO, it stops that. It just makes your form or your site secured. And then also it is flexible. You can switch databases without rewriting your entire code. And then the last one, it is modern and recommended. It replaces the old MySQL functions. All right, so now let's look at how to connect our PHP code to the database using PDO. But first, I think we have to create a folder. So to do that, but make sure your XAMPP is working. Make sure your Apache server is on and then your MySQL server is on. All right, so those who are having issues with their MySQL server, try and then use Windows R and then search for services.msc. You understand? And press OK and then run yes. And then check through this panel and see if you see MySQL 80. I think MySQL 80. I have to find it here. MySQL 80. Just what do you call it? I've already ended it. So if you use, you may see that stop, pause, using restart. So you just have to stop it because I think if you are having that kind of error, it means maybe you are having another app that is using MySQL. So it is trying to fight with XAMPP to get a port. You understand? Yeah. So you just have to stop it. All right. So let's us head on to our file explorer and then head on to our C drive and then go to XAMPP and then within our XAMPP we visit htdocs and then we create a folder. Let's name it PDOs. Let's name it PDOs. All right. So when you're done, just close it and open your VS Code and then within it select file and then open folder and then check through and see if you find your and then go to XAMPP and then htdocs and then select the folder you just created. You created it as PDOs then you select the folder. So when you are done, it will load. So first of all, we have to create our HTML and boilerplate where we would write the form. So we'll name it index.php. This is where the form would be handled. Let's create a CSS file, styles.css. All right. And then when you are done, create a folder and then name it includes. So to do that, just select this tab. You understand? This one, the second one, and type includes. So when you are done, within the includes, create a file. We have to create two files. We have to create the sign up inc.php. So sign up, which means sign up includes.php. You understand? Yeah, because we are connecting it to the folder. So sign up.inc.php. Always keep that in mind. And then you create another file within the includes. You will name it dbh.inc.php. This is where we would connect our database. You understand? All right. So this is where we connect our database, and this is where we would handle the forms inside the sign up for the sign up page that we create. And this is where we would create our form, and then here is where we'll style it. All right. So let me just close this includes, and let's focus on the form. So to create a form, shift and then exclamation mark and tab to load our HTML boilerplate. Let me name it PDO forms. All right, so let me save it and then head on to Chrome and then search for local, sorry, local host slash dashboard. This is where we would run our work, and then select this go live, and then within the go live, copy the live server address, copy it well, and then open your Chrome, open the file extension, live extension, and web extension. So we'll save it over here, and then we would replace the dashboard with PDOs. The name of the folder is PDOs. All right, so we would replace it with PDOs. PDOs. All right, so let's copy and then let's open the live server web extension again and then replace it over here. All right, so it should work. Now let me come and write something and see if, all right, so automatically it will be saved. All right, so let's create our form. All right, so to create our form, we would have to start with, let's give it a title of a heading tag of, let's say, create an account or create account. All right, so under it, beneath it, we'll just load our form. So form action, you write the name of where you would actually want to save it. So we save it inside the signup inc.php. So right includes is the name of the folder. Then we'll store it here. Always keep that in mind. And then we would use a method of post. Always remember that when you are dealing with forms, you have to use posts. So method, I'll give it a post, and then within the form, let's create a label, and then the for would give it username. Then within the label, right, we'll type username. Let me just make it like this, and then under it, an input which would need a text. The type will be text, and then the name would actually be username as usual, and then we'll give it an ID of username as well. Right, so we would add required because it will be very necessary to um, type in your username. It should be required. Then let's add 2 breaking tags. Now let's run it and see if it's working. All right, so it's working perfectly. Now let me copy and paste it. Let me copy and paste this, and then paste it here. Let me give a space and paste it here. So I will name this password. So I'll just cut it short pwd, and then I'll write password over here. And then I'll replace this text with password. So pwd, sorry, pwd, and then I'll replace all of this with pwd. pwd, and then this one to be pwd. So it should also be required. All right, so we would add an email as well. So let's copy it and then paste it over here, and then we'll replace the pwd with email, and then we'll replace this password with email as well. All right, so We have to change um, this from PWD to email. Always keep that in mind. Email and then another email. All right. So let's save it and see what's happening. All right. So as you can see that the password is there and then the email is also there. So let's add a button. So to add a button, we use the button type. So button, and then I'll give it a type of submit. After giving it in between, I write submit. All right. So it should work. Let's save it and see something. All right. So let me just submit it and see. You can see that they are telling me to fill it, fill these inputs because of the required I included there. All right. So once we are done, I think let's just move straight to the the creation of the database. All right. So always know that when you are dealing with PDOs, sorry, when you are dealing with PDOs, you have to create a database because it is actually dealing with database. Understand? It deals with database. All right. So we would head on to our XAMPP panel, and then within the MySQL we select admin. All right. So we'd have to create a database. So to create a database, I've already created a database. That's my first database. So I'll actually have to pass through it. So you just have to um, click new. Those who don't have the database, just select new and then write the name of the database here. Let's say HHHHH, and then just create it. When you are done creating it, you can just come here and then write your queries over here. But I'm going to use my first database, so I'll go to my first database and then I'll go to create new table. I'll go to the SQL aspect. All right, so I'll just have to type in my query. So I'll write create table users. So I'm creating a table called users, and then we are using MySQL, not Postgre. Okay, so always keep that in mind. So within it, I'll give it an ID. Um, let's say an ID of integer, and then an auto increment, and then it should be the primary key. All right, so and then I add a username. Um, I'd have to add a username. So sorry, user name. We'll just change this. So username of a variable character. Let me make the specify the length to 255. Yeah, to 255 22. Oh, okay, 255. And then I add a PWD. That's the password to also 255. We'll give it a password of 255. All right. So when you are done, add your comma, and then you add the email. Sorry. email, and then a voucher of 255 as well. You can actually decrease it, but I'm using 255. All right. So when you are done, just end it over here and then select go. So when you select go, you can see that the table has been successfully created. So we would come here. So this is where the table is. So users, the name of the table is users. So I can come here and then say that it should query out all the users, but then we haven't appended or populated any data into the database, so there wouldn't be any data showing. So let's just go back to the users. Let's go back. All right, so this is your users table. So let's go back to our our PHP folder and then connect the DB to the database. Let's connect the file to the database. So to do that, let's head on to the dbh.inc.php. So here I am going to explain everything line by line. Right. So let's load our PHP boilerplate. So PHP. All right. So in between it, okay. So the first thing we'll do, we would write DSN, and then it is a variable. Then we would write the name of the table. So it will be MySQL, then host. The host is equal to localhost. Then would end it here. Then the name of the database. So DB name. The name of the database is my first database. My first database. All right. So let's end it. All right. So DSN means data source name. Always keep that in mind. It means data source name. And then here we are using MySQL, and then the host name is localhost, and then our database name is my first database, which is over here. So this is the name, my first database, and then let me come here. Um, what do you call it? Yeah, this is the host name. The host name is localhost, and we are using MySQL. That's why I've stated MySQL here. So this is the host. The name of the host is localhost. I think that I can actually show you why it is called localhost, but then forgotten where I'll have to go. Is it operations or tracking or triggers? Actually, when I get it out, I'll let you know. All right, so that's it. So let's calm down and then continue with our assignment of the variables. So we would write the database username, which is also called root. So db username, and then it's called to root, and then db username equal to root, and then the password, db password, it will be none, because there's no password that has been um, we haven't created any password for our in our SQL admin. All right, so let's end it and then save it. So all of these are the database log in details. On XAMPP or WAMP, the username is usually root, and then the password is empty. I think, let me see if I can find it here. I go to configuration or so, no, or it's either no, I've actually forgotten, but when I get it out, I think by the time I'm getting to the end of the video, I would have remembered where to go. All right, so let's try and connect the database using the PDO. So to do that, under this, would use the what we call the try method, and then we would open it and then write PDO, and then write new PDO, and we would assign all everything here. So we write DSN, then I think DB username, and then what again? The DB password. Make sure that they are the same. Make sure that everything here matches with everything here. Otherwise, it will throw an error. So here we are trying to connect the database to the PDO. You understand? If the connection is successful, the PDO will store the connection in the variable PDO. So everything is saved here. You understand? Yeah. Actually, the soul of every programming language is to understand the basics. If you understand the basics, you would actually get what I'm doing. So yeah, you know that this is just a variable and I've assigned it into it. So here it is storing the PDO is containing these details. You understand? Yeah. So let's continue. So under it, we haven't done under it. We would actually write something like PDO, and then we would use this and set an attribute to PDO. I would explain it to you, and then a attribute of error mode. So here we are just handling errors. Okay, attribute error mode, and then another one. Let's say PDO, and then error mode again, exception. All right. So let's end it and let me explain this to you. So this line is telling PDO to show detailed error messages if anything goes wrong. You understand? So it's making the debugging easier. You understand? So it's actually going to show the error messages. You understand? So maybe if there's a problem with the submission of your data, it's going to throw an error. You understand? So yes, let's continue. So under this, we would write a catch, and then we would also write some codes. So PDO exception, and then we would add a variable of E. All right. So within that variable, within this statement here, I write a die, and then it should print out a message connection failed. So that's when I'm telling that it should just append at the URL. You understand? Yeah. And I would add a string concatenation. So it should add a message. So it should be like a message would appear, and then I would assign it to get message. I'm telling that it should throw a message. Right. So let me end it over here. All right. So I am trying to say that if the connection fails, this block will catch the error and stop the script. You understand? Yeah. So this is actually stopping the error. You understand? It will stop it will catch the error and stop what you are trying to submit. So it will print this message so that we know that, oh, this is what is wrong. There's a connection problem, or maybe, yeah, you understand. But yeah, I'm saying that you should write connection failed, because if maybe there's a problem with your internet, you should just write connection failed. Right. So let's save it. So this is just the connection. So this is just for the connection. So make sure to keep it in your head. I would actually post it in the comment section for easy identification. All right. So let's move on to what do we call about we want to insert the scripts, like we want to do the form handling for this form. We want to work with the form handling. We want to store, or like it should direct, or should work with this form, like the database should work with this form. All right. So to do that, it's just, I think it will cost us, I think, more than 20 lines of code, but it's more. So let's continue. So we just have to load our HTML boilerplate, and then write something like PHP and then end it, and then within it, very simple. So if um you know what if statements are, you are making a decision. So if server, so as we did for the form handling for the previous video. So let's if server, and then within the server requests, we are requesting a method. So request, we are trying to say that it should get the what you are doing, and I'll assign it strictly to post, because that is what I have specified in the form. That was our specified here in the form here. Right, it's not a big problem at all. Let's go. So you would actually open the curly braces, and then well, let me explain what this thing is doing. I think I've explained it, but then let me just explain it again. So this is checking if the form was submitted using the post or the get, but we are using the post. If I change it to get, it means you are checking that if you are saying that you should check if the form is submitted to get, but since we are using the post, it should check if we are using the post. You understand? Yeah. So if someone tries to access the file directly, they wouldn't be allowed. You understand? Without using the post, they wouldn't be allowed. So within this statement, we would write the name of the database that we created. So we are trying to say that it should, this is the form handle, this is where the form will be handled, but then it will be stored in the database. You understand? Yeah, through this file. You understand what I'm trying to say? All right. So here, write user name, and then we'll give it a post. We'll give it a post, and then a username. Let me just make it small letter. Username, and then end it, and then the name of the password. So pwd, we are just storing like what we did earlier on. You understand? Yeah, we are just saying that it should store it inside this variable. Yeah. So post, another post, and then I'll write pwd because that's what I wrote. So actually you are dealing with data, the database here. All right, and then email, it should be post, and then email. All right, always keep that in mind. So let me explain this everything here to you. So here we are collecting the data the user typed in the form. So we'll store it inside these PHP variables, you understand? So that it will be automatically stored in the database. But then I will provide you the code that would allow us to store it in the database. So to do that, we would have to um, write something. Would write something over here. Hold on, let me try and think. I think I've forgotten what I would have to write over there. So, all right. So I'll just come um, down, and then I'll write try um, and then require once. It should require once. Okay. Require once. So then I would specify it that it should connect it to the database. So db writes the where the database is connected. So dbh.inc.php. All right. So with this part, I am saying that I am saying that um, um, it should connect it to the database. So if the connection is successful, PDO stores the connection in the variable PDO. You understand? All right. So let's proceed sorry, I made a mistake. I think my mind is moving more faster than what I'm supposed to say. So I'm trying to say that we are including the database here. We are including the database connection file we created earlier, which is here. You understand? So that we can use the PDO connection inside the script. So here we are just pushing this, like the form should be stored using this, so that it should be connected to the database, so that everything will be connected, will be stored in the database. You understand? So let's come um, over here, and then would specify our queries, how the data will be inserted. So I'll just write a variable, declare a variable query, and then I would assign it to insert into, I'm saying that it should be inserted into users. Then within its username, specifying the database, the entities in the database, username, PWD, that's the password, and then the email, and then the values. I don't know the values yet, so we'll just enter question marks to tell PHP that we don't know yet. You understand? Yeah. So let me just end it here, and then end this one also here. So let me try and explain what this side means. All right. So um this our SQL insert statement, um 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 these are the statements they insert into users and then so you are saying that based on the form, the data that the person enters, it should be inserted into the database. You understand? You understand? So notice that the question marks are the placeholders. You understand? They will help prevent SQL injection, making that ensuring that the code is more secured. You understand? Yeah. So always keep that in mind. Keep this one in mind. we are we are doing two things. We are connecting it to the database, and then we are making sure that, since we don't know, we are also telling that the PHP should secure our data. You understand? Yeah, that is what this question mark is doing. It is doing two things. We are specifying it because we don't know, and then two, to secure our data, or our code. All right, so we'll continue to with our code. We'll continue with our code, and then the next thing we'll do is that we'll prepare and execute our database. Right. So under this, let me just write a variable. Let me name it SMT or STMT, and then I'll give it PDO, and then I'll assign it to let's say it should be prepared query, and then let me end it here, and then beneath this I write another STMT, and then um, execute it over here, and then I would explain this part also to you, trying to recall what I'm supposed to do over here, and then user name, and then PWD, the variables. I think I have to add a dollar sign over here, and then the email. So it should be in order of how the database was created, and then all right. So let me explain this part to you. Okay, so now When we run, this is telling SQL that when you run the query, when you run the SQL query and pass the actual values, this is the moment the user gets saved inside the database. So here, the everything is saved inside the database. You understand? Yeah. So um, let's continue to the next um, 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 the next set of codes. So let me just finish everything I'm doing and then I'll explain it. STMT equal to now, and then PDO to be equal to now. So let me write header and then location. Um, I'm specifying it into includes index dot php sign up equal to success. All right. I think I didn't spell my success for. All right. So um, let me write something over here. Exit. I would explain it to you. Don't worry. And then let me just come here and then end what we are supposed to do. So PDO exception, and then we would give it a variable of e. Then would run it. Sorry, within it, I'll give it an error um, message query field. I'll add a concatenation. Then I'll add this variable e over here, and then I'll let it get a message. Get message, and then let me end it over here, and then come view. Um, let me just write something over here, else, and then a header creation um, index dot php. I would explain everything to you, so don't worry. Then I would exit it as well. Alright, so this brings us to the end of. Alright, so let me explain the codes from this side to you. Alright, so this side I've explained it, so I think um, I've also explained this to you. Alright, so here we will prepare the SQL statement before running it. So here PDO will check if the query is safe. You understand? So this side it is checking if the query is safe. And then at this code, we are saying that we should run the SQL query and pass in the actual variables that we actual values that we stated in both the database and then the form we created. And then would let me okay, so here we are saying that the SQL query should be passed in the actual values. You understand? And then the user would get saved inside the database. So this is where the person will be saved inside the database. And then here we are just closing the connection. This part it is optional. I can choose to remove it or you can choose to ignore it. But then it is a good habit as well. So here it means that you are closing the connection. And then here it means that after we are inserting the data, we should be redirected um, um, back to the home page after the person has signed up. It should redirect you back to the sign up form. You understand? So the URL includes a message showing that the sign up was successful. So within the URL tab will say that the sign up was successful. All right. So um, here is just at this section is just an error messages that we are trying to pass. This side, we are saying that if the query didn't query successful, it should throw a message that the query is failed. And then here we are saying that it should direct you back. If the what do you call it? If you are done querying, it should direct you back to the index.php, which is the sign up form. You understand? So let's run it and see. All right, so let's type something, Charlie Cake, and let me give it a password of 30, 40, 50, and then I think, let me check, because the password is supposed to be hidden. The password is supposed to be hidden. It's supposed to be hidden. So let me just write password over here. It's supposed to be hidden. All right, so let me write Charlie Cake 30, 50, 40. All right, so you can see that it is stored successfully and it has been hidden successfully. So let's submit. I see that when I submitted, we are still on the index.php page, and then it has thrown a message that sign up is successful. Understand? Let me make it successful. So this is just the beauty of coding. It's very sweet. I just love it. So let's run it again. So let me bring it back. So let me add another username of, let's say, Techno. After that, we will check the database and see if would actually the thing has been saved successfully. So let me give it a fake email, then at gmail.com, and then submit. So you can see that sign up is successful. Now let us head on to our local host, the MySQL as admin. Let's go to the users table, and then as you can see that it is stored successfully. You can see that the form that the person filled has been successfully saved inside the database. So this is what PDOs does. It allows you to store your data inside the database. So now let's see if we can add some styles. You can actually ignore it. So let's add some CSS so that it can beautify what we have done. All right, so let's proceed. So to do, let's select everything. Let me give it a margin of 0, a padding of 0, and then a box size and of border box. Then we'll come down, we'll give the body. Let's work on the body. Margin is also 0, and then I would give it. Let me increase it a bit. Okay. Let me just. All right. It's okay. And then let me give it a font family of something nice. Let me give it Arial. All right, this is nice as well. And then let's give it a height of 100 VH. And then let's make a display of flex, and then justify our content to center. And then let's align the items to center as well. and then we would add a background color of a linear gradient. So RGBA, let me just write linear gradient, and then let me give it 135 deg, and then specify an RGBA color. So 90110, and then 0.7, which is 7%. Let me just end it here. It's giving me a green. I don't like that. Let me add something to make it nice. 60. All right, move is better. And then add another RGBA. And then I'll specify 20, 40, 90, 0.7, which means 7%, which is a little bit of deep blue. And then RGBA of let's say 0, 0, and then 0.1. All right, so let's save it and see what's happening. All right. Oh, I forgot to connect my CSS. So to do that, let's link it, and then styles.css. The name of the CSS file is styles.css. Let's save it. That should work. I don't even understand why the color isn't coming. Well, let's go back, and then it should rather be background, not background color. All right. All right, so you can see that the background has been changed successfully. So let's proceed to the container of the form itself. Um, Hold on. Let's check something. I'm checking if um, I'm checking if everything that I have stated is correct. All right, so I think I want to add a div to it. So let me create a div tag, and then within the div tag, let me add a class, and let me name the class container. Let me name it container, and then let me end it here. So it means that the form is stored inside the container. I've stored the form inside the container. Let me save it. All right. So let me head on to my CSS and then style the container. All right. So I'll give it a background of RGBA 255, and then I'll give this 255 as well, and I'll replace this with 255 as well, and then I'll replace this with 0.1%, which means 1%, 0.1. All right, and then I would add a backdrop filter. I want it to be blur. um, I want it to have a blur, mm, oh shit, blur 12 pixels. All right, so let me add a padding of 30 pixels, and then a width of 350 pixels, and then I would give it a border radius I want it to have a rounded corner. So let's make it 12 pixels, and then give it a box shadow of 0, 0, 20 pixels, and then I would give it an RGBA color of 255, and then I'd give it a 255, and then I would give it also a 255. Let me remove this blue from there, and then with here I would specify some 0.05%. All right, so the rest I'd give it a color of white. Let me give it triple F. All right, so let's save it, and then you can see that it is having an effect here. All right, so let's proceed to the H2, which is the text over here. Let's work on that as well. So H2, I would give it a text align center. I'll center it, and then a margin bottom 20 pixels. Font. We'll give it a font width of 600. Let's save it and see what. All right, so it's centered and then it's given us a nice output. All right, so let's work on the label as well, and then let's give it a display of block, and then I'll give it a margin bottom of 6 pixels. I'll give it a font size of let's say 14 pixels. Let's save it. All right, so we can see that that one too is display a sweet output. All right, so let's work on the inputs and we'll work on the button, and then I think we are done. So with the input, I would add a width of 90%. If we make it 100%, it's going to cover the entire form or the container. So we give it a padding of 12 pixels, and I'll give it a border radius of 8 pixels, and then I'll give it a I don't want it to give it I don't want a border. I'm removing the border, and then I'll give it a margin bottom. I want a space beneath the inputs, a little bit of space beneath the input. I'll give it 15 pixels, and then I'll give it an outline of no outline, and then I'll give it a font size of let's say 14 or 15. Okay, 14 pixels. Okay, now let's run it and see. You can see that it has displayed a very nice form over here. All right, so let's proceed, and then let's work on the button. Let's work on the button, and then we are done. So with the button, as well, would add a width of 100%, give it a width of 100%, and then I'll give it a padding of 12 pixels, and then I would give it a background of an RGBA color. Let's give it 40, 90, 255, 0.9. All right, so let's give it a border. Let me scroll it so that you can see a border of none. It's not actually compulsory to keep this CSS code in your head. I'm just writing it based on how I want my form to look like. So I'll give it a color of white, and then let me just write white, and then I would give it a border radius of 8 pixels, and then I'll give it a font size of 16 pixels, and then I'll give it. All right, so let me save this so I can have a look of it. All right, so this is how it's looking like, and then we want to change this cursor to a pointer when it's being highlighted or being when it's touched. When a cursor is touching the button, it should tend to pointer. So I'll send the cursor to pointer. And I think it is too small, so the input is too small. So let me just make it um, 95. 95. Let's save it. See, okay, this is better because let me show you 100, how 100% would look like. 100% will cover the entire. Okay, I think the 100% is okay. Okay, let me just make it 100%. All right, so um, I've made it a pointer. I think the way I've pointed the pointer is wrong. So pointer. So you can see that when you touch the button, the cursor turns into a pointer. All right, then we would actually come down and then come write a font weight. I want to give the text inside, sorry, a font, the boldness of the text. I want to increase it a bit. So we use the font weight as well. So I'll give it 600, and then I would give it a transition because I want to add a hover effect one to it. Sorry, I'm speaking pigeon. Um, right, so let's activate the hover effect. So button hover, and then background color of RGBA 20, 70, 230, and then one. And all right, let me save it, and then I'll add a transform, and I'll add a scale of 1.03, and voila, we are done with our form. So you can see that the form is beautifully styled. You can actually change the style yourself, but then it's not responsive. I've not made it responsive, so it's not going to have any responsiveness. It's not going to have any responsiveness. It's not going to have any responsiveness. All right, so at least it's even responsive. Just that it keeps on shrinking when I. It's okay. It's not bad. Let me check something. Okay, I didn't. Because of the protection, the sources is not here. You are not seeing the code. You are not seeing the source code. But then if there was no security, you would see that the code has um, 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 been displayed over here. You see that the code has been displayed over here. Yeah, so that is how it is. So let me just close this panel, and then let's save it. All right. So let's create another. Let me make it Tom, and then let me give it a password of uh, then a fake email at Gmail. Let's submit it, and then let's come to our database and see if it has been updated. All right, so you can see that Tom and then the password of PAPAPAPAP has been stored. But actually, you can actually hash this password, but then it's not really needed because we are learning it for an exam, so they won't ask us to hash the password. So that brings us to the end of this tutorial. I hope you guys learned a lot. We learned what PDO is, and then why it's important, and how to connect it to a database, and how to insert data using prepared statements. So this is actually the file where you create the form. This is where you style it. This is where you'd handle the form. And then this is where you would connect it to the database. So this brings us to the end of this lesson. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and drop a comment if you want a full PDO crude tutorial like create, tweet, update, and delete. That one, I think after the exams, I'm going to work on more projects so that we get an understanding of what we are doing. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. It's a goodbye, and then I wish you all the best in the examination.